Inside the quiet office, the entire building was empty, except for two people. Emily Carter stood near the large glass window, nervously holding a stack of documents. Behind her, the powerful CEO of the company, Alexander Blackwood, slowly stepped closer. The tension in the room was undeniable. Emily could feel his presence just inches behind her. Her heart began to race. She turned around suddenly and found herself standing incredibly close to him. Too close. For a moment, neither of them moved. Alexander's sharp gray eyes locked onto hers. "Emily," he said quietly. His voice was deeper than usual. Outside, thunder echoed across the city skyline. Emily tried to step back, but the desk behind her stopped her. Alexander leaned slightly closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you have any idea what you're doing to me?" Emily's breath caught in her throat, because at that exact moment, she realized something she never expected. Her cold, untouchable CEO was completely in love with her, and the truth was, she wasn't sure if she could resist him anymore. But the truth behind their story started months earlier, long before this stormy night. Before we continue, if you enjoy emotional love stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because we bring you powerful stories every week. Now, let's go back to where everything started. Emily Carter had just arrived in New York City 3 months earlier. Before moving to New York, Emily Carter had lived her entire life in a small town in Ohio. Life there was simple: quiet streets, friendly neighbors, and the kind of place where everyone knew each other. But Emily always dreamed of something bigger. Her father had worked at a factory for most of his life. Her mother worked at a local diner. They weren't rich, but they were loving. Then, everything changed 2 years earlier. Her father became seriously ill. Medical bills piled up. Savings disappeared. Emily knew she had to help. So after graduating college, she packed her bags and moved to New York City, the city of dreams. Or at least that's what people called it. In reality, New York was overwhelming. The noise, the crowds, the endless rush of people chasing success. But Emily had no choice. She needed a job. And that job came from a company called Blackwood Enterprises. She had no idea that decision would change her life forever. Alexander Blackwood was not an ordinary CEO. By age 32, he had already built a billion-dollar technology company. Business magazines called him a genius entrepreneur. Investors called him a visionary. But employees had a different nickname for him: the Ice King. Alexander was known for his cold personality. He rarely smiled, rarely joked, and almost never showed emotions. His expectations were simple: perfection. Employees often whispered stories about him: how he fired a senior manager during a meeting, how he once rejected an entire project after a single mistake. People respected him, but they were also terrified of him. So when Emily learned she would be working directly under him, her hands started shaking. Emily's first day at Blackwood Enterprises was unforgettable. The building itself looked like something from the future. Glass walls, minimalist offices, employees moving quickly through hallways. Everything felt professional, intimidating. Emily sat nervously at her desk, waiting. Then the elevator doors opened, and Alexander Blackwood walked in. The entire office went silent. He wore a dark, tailored suit, his posture confident and calm. His presence filled the room without him saying a single word. Emily watched him walk past. Then suddenly, he stopped. His eyes moved toward her desk. "Who is she?" he asked. Emily froze. Her manager quickly spoke. "Sir, this is Emily Carter, your new assistant." Alexander looked at her carefully, not smiling, not unfriendly, just observing. Then he said something simple, "Don't make mistakes," and walked away. Emily exhaled slowly. "Well, that went well," she whispered to herself. Working for Alexander Blackwood quickly became exhausting. His schedule was brutal: meetings, investor calls, international conferences. Emily had to organize everything. She often arrived at the office before sunrise and sometimes left after midnight. But something about Emily was different. She didn't complain. She didn't panic under pressure. Instead, she quietly handled problems before anyone noticed them. Alexander began to notice this. At first, it was small things: corrected documents, perfectly timed schedules, smart decisions. But what impressed him most was her honesty. She never tried to impress him. She simply did her job. And somehow, that made her stand out more than anyone else. One evening, most employees had already left the building. The city lights glowed through the office windows. Emily was still working at her desk. Alexander walked out of his office and noticed her. "You're still here?" She looked up. "Oh, yes, sir. I'm finishing tomorrow's meeting notes." He checked his watch. It was almost 10 p.m. "You should go home." Emily smiled politely. "I will, after this." Alexander stood there for a moment, watching her. He couldn't explain why, but something about her calm determination fascinated him. It had been a long time since someone impressed him like this. If you're enjoying this slow burn love story so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the channel and allows us to bring more emotional stories like this. Now, let's continue. A few weeks later, a massive storm hit New York City. Thunder echoed through the sky. Rain poured endlessly onto the streets. Inside the office, only 2 lights were still on: Emily's desk and Alexander's office. When Alexander stepped out, he saw her again, still working. "Emily." She looked up. "You're still here again." She laughed softly. "I didn't notice the time." He glanced outside. Rain flooded the streets. "You won't get a taxi tonight." Emily sighed. "Yeah, I was thinking the same thing." Alexander hesitated, then said something surprising. "I'll drive you home." Emily blinked. "You will?" He nodded. "Yes." She had no idea how unusual that offer was, but for Alexander, it was the first time he had offered kindness to an employee, and it wouldn't be the last. The car ride that night was quiet, but eventually Emily started talking about her family, her hometown, her dreams. Alexander listened carefully. No one talked to him like this anymore. People usually spoke to him with fear or admiration, but Emily spoke to him like he was just another person. And for the first time in years, Alexander felt normal. When they arrived at her apartment building, Emily smiled. "Thank you for the ride." He nodded, then said something unexpected. "You can call me Alexander." Emily laughed. "That feels weird." But he didn't argue. Instead, he watched her walk inside the building and realized something he hadn't felt in a very long time. He was looking forward to tomorrow. Weeks passed, and Alexander began to notice something dangerous. His thoughts kept returning to Emily. Her laugh, her honesty, her kindness, things he had buried deep inside himself for years. Then one evening, he finally understood the truth. He had fallen in love with her. And the stormy night from the beginning of this story was the night he finally admitted it. Standing close to her in the quiet office, Alexander whispered the words he never thought he would say. "Emily, I think I'm in love with you." The room fell silent. Emily's heart raced, because the truth was, somewhere along the way, she had fallen in love with him too. And that night was only the beginning of their story. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional love stories. Because sometimes the most unexpected love stories start in the workplace.